welcome to this next in our live streams, this Music Revival Online. With Christopher Geigen coming to you from my home in Potterville. And a guest, of course, here who's back in the room is little Wendy Pop. Wendy Pop's been in the walls for the last 2 weeks with a cone of shame. But Wendy Pop, as you can see, is very excited. Yes, Wendy Pop, we can see you. Thank you so much for being here, Wendy Pop. For we so well behaved. Wendy Pop's been much better. Tonight in our in-concert session, I have for you a beautiful program of music, including the Mozart Fantasy in C minor, also in C minor, the Beethoven Sonata Pathétique, very beautiful three-movement sonata. I'll be playing the beautiful Impromptu in G flat by Franz Schubert, a favorite of many, and ending off with quite an exciting Hungarian Rhapsody by Franz Liszt, the 12th of the Hungarian Rhapsodies, which is rather complex but very exciting and I think quite a brilliant piece. And the reason why I put all these pieces together is I've been thinking a lot about the drama in life and the drama in any piece of music, and a piece of music which has great contrasts from the louds and softs, the fasts, slows, the highs and lows. In itself, a piece of music like that is quite dramatic. So in fact, when compiling a program and putting a program selection of pieces together, one always has to take into these account of how they will complement and work together and contrast each other. And I think there are many contrasts and beautiful complementing ideas in this program. From the fantasy in Mozart, which I'll be starting with, which is very disjointed in a way. It's a fantasy. It's a number of different moments which don't necessarily link together that concisely and cohesively, but are just moments within themselves. And that then contrasts with the precise and profound logic and the drama of the Sonata Opus 13, the Pathétique by Beethoven. And then the beauty, the hymn-like quality, the calm serenity of the Impromptu of Schubert, again then contrasts with the very virile and varied fantasy nature of so many different ideas, textures, and also some great excitement to end off with in the Liszt. So I think these pieces work together quite well. The Liszt and the Mozart are on each end hanging together with this very spontaneous, in the moment feel, fractions, fragments that are strung together, and the Beethoven and the Schubert then on the other hand holding everything together in the middle with a very concise and logical sequence of ideas. So I'm going to start off. This is the fantasy in C minor. Mozart wrote two of these fantasies in C minor, and also a D minor fantasy which he didn't finish. He intended the fantasy and the sonata in C minor to be published together. Whether he really intended them to be performed together, I'm not sure. But it's a piece of great drama. There's so many contrasting ideas, great depth and mystery, as well as moments of warmth and charm, and then also these very orchestral outbursts of really quite strong, very brilliant ideas. And then here and there in the music, there's an odd run up and down the keyboard, as though Mozart himself is thinking in an improvisory way, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do next, I'm not sure where this is going to lead to. So these moments, you suddenly find yourself in a moment without really always working out or being logically aware of how you got there, but once he's there, he just carries on and then changes to something else. And that's the nature of a fantasy rather than a sonata, which is so much more concise and cohesively and succinctly joined together. Thank you, Lucy, who's here. Lucy's back in the room. Thank you, Lucy. You're going to be quiet. The sonata in C minor, then K475 by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. The rather enigmatic and elusive tones, very dramatic, but so many beautiful ideas thrown there, contrasted thrown, or I should say, placed together very carefully by Mozart, each with their own individual character, but in a very unusual and creating so many contrasts and different shifts and changes from one mood to another. I'm going to continue with the Sonata Opus 13, the Pathetique by Ludwig van Beethoven. What's interesting is the time period between these two pieces is actually not greatly. It's probably very great. It's about probably 10 or 15 years. But of course, the difference in the composers' temperaments and personality is so unique. That's obviously a very dark and a very mysterious piece in terms of Mozart's output. And this Beethoven sonata that I'm going to play is one of the early youthful works, but it's still, you get that sense of gravity, and you'll see how maybe there's a certain influence in Beethoven's music, especially in the darkness of the chords at the beginning, and then these very tormented moments in the first movement. Beethoven really brings together this idea of pathos, pathetique. This is his title. It was a title that he came up with, unlike the titles like the Moonlight and the Waldstein, which were other nicknames that people have given to the sonatas. Beethoven writes in the score very clearly, sonata pathétique, saying this is a sonata. It's a new concept. It's something which is beyond what is normal for him or for other composers maybe, in terms of this pathos, this sense of great emotion which he imbues and injects into the music. The second movement, of course, is so beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful melodies, hymn-like melodies that he writes, which is in such great contrast, the steady comfort of it is in great contrast to the first movement, which is these contrasts and moments between hurtling forward at great pace and these moments of great slow, static, very gravity-filled moments that he fills in the first movement. And then the last movement is a rondo, a rather elegant and light piece. And of course, this is early Beethoven. This is still Beethoven when he is playing with the molds, of the time and the conventions of the time, where the last movement of a sonata like this is still quite light-hearted and entertaining. It's a lightness at the end of the piece. And only later in sonatas like the Waldstein and the Appassionata does Beethoven say, I don't need to have a lightness at the end of my music. I don't want to end with something that's frivolous and entertaining just to please people's ears. I want to end the sonata. I want to bring the final culmination of the sonata as the closing drama, the complete concluding logic of everything that is heard before, and not just the drama in the first movement and a light-hearted movement to end with. Beethoven's music then moves into a pattern and a sequence of movement, of motion, where the final movement and the end of the final movement is the real culmination of everything he's included in the movements before. But that's, of course, to come later. So this is the sonata, Opus 13, the Grand Sonata, Pathetique by Ludwig van Beethoven. Sonata Opus 13, the Sonata Pathétique, Pathos by Ludwig van Beethoven. There's 3 movements. That was the second work in this evening's in-concert session with myself, Christopher Duigan, coming to you from my home in KwaZulu-Natal on a very warm, it's been very warm today. I'm really working up great. A lot of energy here in the studio this evening with the lights, camera action, and a bit of heat, but this is the show must go on. I'm moving on then to 2 pieces of music very contrasted. The Impromptu in G-flat by Franz Schubert. This is really one of his most popular and most sublime, I think sublime is the right word that always sticks with this music. A beautiful melody, hymn-like melody that just gently and beautifully unwinds into its own drama as inner world nature. And then I'm finishing this evening's program with the Hungarian Rhapsody number 12 by Franz Liszt, from the 20 or so Hungarian Rhapsodies that Liszt wrote. This is thought to be one of the most logically composed or comprehensive or integrated. Many of the Rhapsodies, like the famous Rhapsody number 2, exist in 2 parts, a slow section and a followed section, fast section. It's just 2 parts completely, it's just 2 separate ideas. Whereas this Rhapsody is a little bit more complex, and as I said, there's a lot more integration. That's some of the melodies which you'll hear at the beginning of the piece. For instance, you'll hear later on at various points through the music, you'll hear a little melody. Introduced about halfway through, which is then transformed into a grand anthem. At the end of the piece. So it's a very cleverly combined composition where Liszt moves from one idea to another, introduces something else. The music gathers steam and works up itself into a dance, and then the final culmination brings the transformation of these melodies and ideas into a grand conclusion. It's a very conclusive ending, but a very integrated piece from the Hungarian Rhapsody number 12. Even Lucy is agreeing. But first of all, the Schubert Impromptu in G-flat.
incredibly clever, brilliant piano writing there from Franz Liszt, always full of bags of tricks of cascading notes and trills and double note and little dancing figures back and forth. Amazing what Liszt does, amazing how he makes the piano just sing, dance and tumble in its own special way. Does bring us to an end of this evening's session. Worked up a bit of a storm. Thank you very much to Leon, the technical support. Thank you for all of those of you who are still supporting me. There are a few people that are still donating regularly, and I'm very grateful for that because that is, of course, keeping me going. If you are watching and you haven't subscribed, or you know anyone who hasn't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do ask them to do so, because I actually have 994 subscribers. And when I reach 1,000 subscribers, which is only 6 people away, if we can find 6 more people in the next few days to subscribe to my YouTube channel, then there's no cost. It's just you have to register. You just have to subscribe, and if you're not already on YouTube, then just punch in your email address. I think it's as simple as that, and you'll get notified of every time I go live and upload anything new. But it does help me enormously, and some of the new and some of the extra benefits of being on YouTube will probably kick in once I have those 1,000 subscribers. So please do let anyone know. If you are watching that is not already a subscriber at YouTube, please do subscribe. Thank you for joining me tonight. Look forward to seeing you on Wednesday for our next piano hour. We've started, this is actually delayed from last week, so we're back and ready into the next sequence of live streams on this Wednesday and Saturday, and I look forward to seeing you there for some more music. Look after yourselves and stay well.